My name is Lydia Edwards. Before I was any of those things, I was an Air Force brat. My mother served for 23 years in the United States Air Force. I can trace my family back to 1822 in this country. I know the names of the slaves, and I know my ancestors' histories. And I've seen the draft cards from my great-great-grandfather who served in World War II, and my grandfather who served, great-great-grandfather who served in World War I, and my grandfather who served in World War II. My great-uncle served and died in Korea on Heartbreak Hill on October 9, 1951. My uncle, Tyrone, who I did not meet, he served in Vietnam, and while he left the war did not leave him, and he came back to Chicago and took his life. My mother served. She joined in 71 during Vietnam and left during Iraq War. And I'm serving now. I joined just a year ago. But I want you to know that politics is new to my family, but service, as I've demonstrated, is not. It's what we do. It's what I've learned is part of being an American, part of being a patriot, is service to country. And what I love about patriotism, what I am passionate about patriotism, is that it serves no political party. It serves, and it's not owned by any particular group of people, background, or financial investment. It is in each and every one of us, and is one of the most beautiful things that we can all do. A lot of people ask themselves, or think, oftentimes, that patriotism is in the flags that you carry. It's in the blind faith in the nation. It's in a lot of different things that are more performative. To me, that's not patriotism. Patriotism is a lot like my faith. When they ask, do you know? They will know you're Christian by your love. Then I say the same thing about patriotism. They will know you're a patriot by your service, by your commitment to others. True patriots are not offended by criticism or calls to be a better nation. True patriots are not concerned with propaganda or political parties. True patriots get to serve unapologetically. When I think of patriotism, I think of my great uncle, Uncle Selman. He was 21 years old, and he was picked along with Bob Finley and Walter Schultz to lead the charge up Heartbreak Hill. Military brass said it would be a 7-day campaign to take the North Korean ridge. It was 30 days and mass casualties. They led that hill, they went up the hill together, the three of them, and they're just barely men, young men. Bob Finley took fire first. Walter Schultz second. He managed to crawl down. Bob Finley had to be carried down by my uncle. He begged to be let go. He screamed out in pain. He said, just let me die. My uncle wouldn't let that happen. He carried him down with another man. He went back up and carried down another man. At 21 years old, he said, there's still men up there. And he went back up and never came back down. I only know about that because my grandmother passed away in 2008. And I was going through her things, and I saw a bunch of letters from a man named Walter Schultz. I had no idea who this man was or why my grandmother was getting letters from him. I looked him up in the phone book, still had those back then, and I called every single Schultz I could find in Brownsville, Michigan, which is where he was from, the address had. He answered the phone, and I introduced myself. I said, hello, Mr. Schultz. My name is Lydia Edwards. I'm the great niece of Selma Mangrum. He said, you are? I said, yes, sir. And I said, I want you to know Maudel has passed away. That was my grandmother's name. And he said, I figured she hadn't responded in a while. I said, your letters are interesting. I want to know why you wrote my family all these years. And he proceeded to tell me the story about Selma. I know my history because of a young son of immigrants, German immigrants from Brownsville, Michigan, told me my family's history, that war story. But what is most important to me is he said, you know, he was a hero. He died a hero's death. But he didn't save me. He said, Bob Finley, do you want his number? I said, yeah, I want his number. I called Bob, and Bob was surprised to hear my voice and know that I even existed. And I said, Bob, can you tell me what happened? And he said, well, talked about how he got injured, how it was 2 black men who carried him down, and how he wanted me to know, with tears coming, I could hear it in his voice, that he's lived a good life. He wanted me to know more than anything in the world. He has no idea why he lived when my Selma was taken. He wanted me to know he was a man of faith. He got his education. He was a coach, he was a teacher. He's been living 2 lives, he said, to compensate for the fact that Selma couldn't live. He cried and he said, I want you to know I'm a good man. I have done everything I can. I am a good man. I said, sir, you don't need to say anything to me. I just wanted to know the history. He died a month later. I say this story because my great uncle was part of the military experiment of integration. It was the first time, formally, they allowed people of all colors to serve equally. He did not care the colors of his comrades when he went up that hill. He did not ask where they were from, what political party they had, what they supported for, who they supported for president. They were his people, and he was willing to die for them. So while some cynics may say he died for nothing, I think he died for what I am seeing right here in front of me. A beautiful nation, of all colors and backgrounds, proud of itself, not perfect, but marching towards a more patriot nation. I want to thank so many people who came before me, the women veterans, the men, people of all colors, gays, lesbians, transgendered individuals who served this country, served it perfectly, served it with all that they had, some dying for this country because they love this country, while sometimes wondering if the country loved them. I want you to know patriotism is why we're all here today, and it comes in many forms. I'm proud to be a patriot. I'm proud to stand for this country and serve this country. I do that in my uncle's name. I do that for this country to be a better country. And I want to thank all of those veterans who have done that and made this a better country. So today, we celebrate them. We celebrate their sacrifice. We acknowledge the sacrifice is not only theirs, but their wives, their husbands, their children's as well. And to all of those who served and left the war, but the war didn't leave you, please know you are not forgotten as you struggle in your day-to-day. Your mental health is still something we need to be responsible for. I'll make this final component. Policy is everything, and patriotism and respect for our veterans needs to be reflected even more in our policies and how we treat them. One thing I'm proud of that we passed at the State House is a recent law that says that all affordable housing programs in any city or town that opts in, 10% will be reserved for veterans only. Assuring that they have access to those vouchers, assuring that they have access to the affordable units and the first-time homeowner programs. All the cities have to do is opt in. That's what we do. So, you can hear my voice is leaving, but my passion is still here. Thank you so much for this honor to be the Grand Marshal this year. I will continue to fight for veterans. I will continue to represent, and I will continue to fight to make sure that we have more patriots in this nation. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I am going to read the proclamation that orders the raising of the services flag here in City Hall Plaza. City of Boston Proclamation. Whereas President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the first Veterans Day Proclamation in 1954, calling on our nation to pay appropriate homage to the veterans of all its wars who have contributed so much to the preservation of this nation. And whereas on November 11th, 2024, we recognize a legacy of loyalty and service, honoring the unwavering dedication of our veterans. This reflects the enduring commitment of those who have served in the United States Armed Forces, emphasizing their steadfast loyalty and selfless service to our nation. And whereas the City of Boston is home to over 20,000 veterans who have served our nation in times of both peace and conflict. Many faced danger and fought for our way of life. And whereas through their selfless service, these dedicated neighbors who served in our armed forces have kept our city and our country strong and inspired generations who followed and proven their heroism time and again. And whereas we recognize and honor with gratitude and respect our neighbors who have served in our armed forces and sacrificed so much to protect our freedoms and our way of life. Now, therefore, Mayor Michelle Wu, Mayor of the City of Boston, do hereby proclaim the 11th day of November to be Veterans Day in the City of Boston. On this day, and in recognition of veterans, service members, and their families, the Mayor has ordered the Property Management Department to raise the United States Armed Forces flag on the third flagpole here on City Hall Plaza in place of the City of Boston flag. Signed, Mayor Michelle Wu, Mayor of Boston, November 9th, 2024.
Harry, colors. Order, or parade, rest.